Stream the meeting.
Good.
So,
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Making a sense of cybersecurity attack, security of personal data, and data protection regulation. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. My name is Kemi Olule, and I will be moderating the webinar session. This webinar is being organized by NACFUK Associate Community in the UK, and NACFUK Associate is an associate community of the Nigeria Fellowship of Evangelical Students based back in Nigeria. Tonight we'll be running this webinar focusing significantly on issue of data. In the information age, data is the new gold. And it will be important for us to have clarity around what data could do. I was looking at the top richest people in the world just a few hours before this seminar, and I saw the network of Mark Zuckerberg, over 221 billion is his current network. And that just tells you how much data has become in terms of net worth. And in the panel today, we've got 3 panelists that will be discussing with us, sharing their knowledge around data security, information security, cybersecurity, the regulations that support cybersecurity. And in no particular order, I would just like to introduce each of these panelists, and then we get to call them one at a time. In the panel today, we have Soji Agbola. Soji is a director with UBS Bank. UBS is one of the investment banks in UK, and is a cybersecurity in the cybersecurity space for quite a while. He started his career back in Nigeria. He had his BSc in computer engineering from Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria, had an MBA from University of Cranfield here in the United Kingdom. And he has quite a string of security leading industry certificates, cybersecurity, CISSP, CISA, CGTE, CISM, and so many of that. And he has worked in the IT space for so many years in the industry, both in Nigeria and also here in the UK. And talking about working, he has been in the core area of cybersecurity consulting, data privacy consulting, cybersecurity assurance. He has worked among top industries in the country, in the likes of Verizon, the likes of Thomson & Reuters, Visa, British Gas, Centrica, where he has helped many of the organizations in strengthening their data protection practice, getting them from wherever they are and driving them through the journey of getting them to maturity as the data become more and more prominent in the industry and driving businesses. He's married and has 2 daughters. In his spare time, he supports mission work when he's on holiday. He does this every year in a gospel-based medical missions to poorer nation. And that is Soji Agbola, is one of our panelists tonight. You're welcome, Soji.
Also, thank you very much for the introduction.
Thank you. Also, I don't know if Sister Bumi has joined us. Dr. Bumi Abel is also one of our panelists. It's interesting. If you look at her profile, you will see how far she has come. She started with a degree in education. She had an NC in education from Akoka in Nigeria. And then she went to University of Ilorin to have a BSc in computer science before she relocated to UK, where she has a first degree from University of South Bank in computer science and networking. And then she has worked in psychiatric and neuroscience at King's College London for several years. Then she had a PhD in bioinformatics as a part-time student in 2014. She's running currently several programs, most online, in supporting different kind of initiatives and also in the wider public up to gathering data on genetic research. She is currently working as a senior data analyst with the NHS here in the UK. So she's also one of our panelists tonight, and we'll be hearing quite a lot from all that is going on within the cyberspace. And the third person, the last but not the least, is Bra Onye. We call him Bra Onye, but it's Dr. Thaddeus Ese. He has his BSc in computer science also from Nigeria, Anambra State University. Then he has MSc in mobile computing and communication and PhD in trustworthy autonomics computing at the University of Greenwich. He has taught in his career, is currently teaching as well, and he has also worked with the Institute of Electrical Electronic Engineering. He's currently a senior lecturer in cybersecurity with the University of Chester here in the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, will you just welcome our panelists? Thank you very much, the panelists. I will quickly just want to give us, by way of understanding how this program will run tonight. We are aiming to run this program for a total period of about 90 to 120 minutes, depends on the question and answer sessions and the level of engagement that we get. So I will give the panelists the first 15 minutes each to share with us all the information that they will want to pass across to us. After that, we will have question and answer session for about 45 minutes, but we will give a window gap of up to 1 hour if there is need for it. After that, then after the question and answer, each of the panelists will have additional 2 minutes to come back and round up. And after the rounding up, we then take a closing remark from the floor, and which will be given by Sister Joke, coordinator of the fellowship here in the UK, and any announcement before we round up. So we're aiming to close at about 10 p.m. UK time for those who are joining from somewhere else outside of the UK. Without so much ado, I will just call on the first person that will be speaking, who will be Brasoji Adwola. So I will hand over to Brasoji to start. While the presentation is going on, if anyone has got any question, put it in the chat, send it to me privately. My name is Kemi Oluleye. I'll be coordinating, gathering all those questions so that we wouldn't interrupt in the course of the presentation. But at the end of the first 45 minutes, when all the presenters are giving their first talk, then we will share the questions and we will discuss that. Thank you very much. Over to you, Brasoji.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I just want to share my screen and then we'll make it start. 1 second, please. Okay, can I confirm you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so just trying to go into presentation mode, but that is not working. But yeah, I will just do it as best as I can. So thank you very much for the privilege I have today to present to everyone on making sense of cybersecurity attacks, privacy, and security of personal data. And thank you for the introduction that you gave about myself. And I'm privileged to be one of the panelists amongst other gifted and experienced panelists on today's webinar. So I think one of the things about security is that there are so many angles to cybersecurity, but because of the objective for today's webinar, I'm going to focus my discussion on security as it pertains to individuals rather than organizations, because generally security is about 3 things. It's about protecting, we usually call it CIA, protecting the confidentiality, protecting the integrity and availability of data. As Brother Kemi said, data is like the gold of nowadays. So we need to make sure that the information is confidential to the degree we want it to be. The integrity is preserved as much as we want it to be, and the data is available whenever we need it. Otherwise, that is a security breach. So I'm going to be talking about. I don't know if this is this big enough, or do you want me to? Okay, let me make it slightly bigger. So I'm going to be talking about. Sorry, I'm going to be talking about the statistics about cybersecurity, that they are really unbelievable. How massive cybersecurity issues, how they have affected every aspect of life. So I'm going to be talking about motivation. So one of the things that motivates the cyber actors or the perpetrators of cybersecurity issues in the world is because some of them, the motivation is because of the money they make from it, and some they are actually motivated by states because they are working for states, for their countries, to attack another country. And from one of the data from one of the statistics from Verizon, it says that 86% of breaches were financially motivated, and that is astronomical. So if you think of every cyber security breaches we have it about nearly 9 out of 10. That's because there's going to be some money that some people will benefit from. Then the other things that have made cybersecurity to be so concerning is the vector. That means the means by which cybersecurity attack can be unleashed on individuals like yourself and myself, or on corporate organization. 94% of malware is delivered by email. That's data from CS Online, and 98% of cyber attacks rely on social engineering. So, and that's just a few. There are so many other attack vectors, but as you can see, these are the two commonest attack vectors. Of course, phishing is another one which I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk a bit more about what do these words mean. I believe a lot of us on this call probably know what they mean, but some might not know. So I'm not going to I'm not going to assume everybody knows what is a malware, what is a phishing, what is social engineering. In some of my slides, I'm going to spend some time to explain what they mean, and of course, I'm also going to spend some time to explain what you and I should do more. I don't want to say what you and I should do. I believe we are all doing something. What you and I should do more to prevent, or to prevent ourselves from being subject of cybersecurity attacks. So another unbelievable and very concerning data is that the personal data is involved. Like I said, we could look at cybersecurity from the impact on organizations and impact on yourself and myself. But this third bullet point talks about that the personal data that is involved in cybersecurity breaches in just last year is about 60%. That means about 6 out of cybersecurity breaches affected personal data, not just data that belong to organization, not just data about stock market, or data about some competitive intelligence of organ, but your data, my data, your date of birth, your email, your addresses. 6 out of 10 of cyber breaches affected your data. That's unbelievable. That means that you and I need to do a bit more to protect and safeguard our data. And what is equally worrying, or perhaps even more worrying, is that it's going to get worse. And the reason why it's going to get worse is because the attack vector, the means by which cybersecurity could be leveraged is just growing and growing out of hand. The average ransomware payment rose from 33% in 2020. I mean, over um, uh, in just 1 year, between 2019 and 2020, 33% of what's been paid. I'm going to explain what ransomware means, by the way, anyway. So that is very concerning. So therefore, those guys who are out there who are trying to hack yourself and myself, how to steal our data, they make a lot of money from this, and the money they make is just growing up year upon year. And cybersecurity breaches have increased as well, 11% in 2018, and compared to by 11% 2018, and 6% by 2024. And these are the data from Accenture. So as you can see, the statistics is just unbelievable. And like I said, it's going to get worse. We now have um, before you and I probably had the computer that we use in the office. Now everybody has a laptop. I can't remember the last time I have a desktop. Everybody has a laptop. Everybody has mobile phone, smart devices, and we now have what is called Internet of Things, IoT. We have our meters at home that uses data. So these are kind of the medium from which the hackers could use to wreak security havoc on people like yourself and myself. So it's going to get worse, and there's no and what is going to make it to get worse again is that the number of security professionals that should help organizations um, help them to mitigate against security. We don't have commensurate growth in security professionals. So the hackers, they're having a field day. And so you and I need to do more than we are doing to help with that. So the next one we I want to talk about is I just want to mention some common attacks, and then I'm going to talk about what we could do to prevent ourselves from being victim of the attack. Malware is one of the um, very one of the attacks that the hackers use. I mean, malware is like a software, a malicious software that can cause some havoc, and 94% of malware is delivered by email. So if you use email, the chances are you have some malware running on your computer unknown to you and causing some damages, maybe sending your data to the hackers, or selling your data. Then the other one is hacking. This is not hacking is there's about 10. You said the damage that we would have from hacking would hit about 10 trillion annually by 2025. That is the statistics. It's going to, like I said, it's going to get bad, and it's going to get worse and worse. So it's hacking is when people actively using automated means or manual means to really hack into your system, and break into that. You might not even be on the internet. You might not have opened your email. You might not have you might not actively using your computer on the internet, but because your device is connected, they can come in through some of the vulnerabilities that we have on our system. Then the other one is social engineering. This is when people call you or they send you email to manipulate you, so that to make you to perform some harmful actions, or for you to divulge confidential information. And some of the impacts of social engineering is that 65% of social engineering ends up in identity theft. People. But just 2 days ago, there was something from my pastor that said fake. Some people have cloned. They've cloned Instagram profile, and it looks very genuine. So that is of course they've not stolen our identity, but that's one of social engineering, because they could use it to send to people who know her, and use that to get information, or to steal data, or to collect money from them. So we also have phishing. Phishing is actually very, very serious, very, very, very serious, because phishing is when you get an email that looks as if it's from HMRC, or from your bank, or from your employer, or from Amazon, or from your energy company, and there will be something like about click this link, and then you're going to you will be promised something, or it could come with a promise of money, or it could come with a threat to say that if you don't take action, we are going to we're going to block your account. Many of us, we've received this kind type of phishing, and I'm going to be talking about some of the key, very simple steps that we can take. to prevent yourself and myself from falling victims of phishing. And the key thing you should remember is that if it has a link, think once, think twice, think 3 times before you click it. And if it has a link, and number two is that make sure that you were the originator of the story. So for example, somebody sends you an email to say your account is about to be blocked. Did you send an email to find out the status of your account? If you did not, that means that email did not come from a previous conversation that is connected. It's just somebody online that is trying to manipulate you into clicking the link. And of course, we have ransomware. Ransomware is really growing, is growing in number. Ransomware is becoming very, very problematic. And the problem with malicious software is that you probably do not even know it's running on your system. The problem with phishing is that you could choose not to click the link, and then you're free. But ransomware could happen through any of the things I mentioned. It could happen through social engineering. They could just say, oh, somebody could call you to say that we realize that your account has been hacked and we want to help you to reset your password. You give them your password online, they use that to gain access to your computer, and they lock your computer. Ransomware is all about your computer or your system being locked and you don't have access, and they actually encrypt your system so you don't have access to it, and you have to pay them money for you to have to gain access back to your computer. So as you can see, the attack is estimated to cost about 6 trillion annually by 2021. It costs about 75 billion per year. So just think about it. Some guys they are putting 75 billion in their pocket every year because you and I haven't been careful enough to take some precautions on things we do online, or precautions on some calls that we receive or some emails that we receive. So those are some of the common attacks or attack types that are common out there that are being devised from those criminals to cause cyber security issues for you and I. So I'm going to go to the next section, which is about what we should do more. This joke makes me to think about at times we have to get a balance between because the joke talks about maybe the best way to prevent being hacked is to just switch off everything, switch off your devices, but we cannot because we live in a connected world. So we have to learn to be safer by taking some some of them are very good hygienes that they are not really complex. They might not cause us an arm and a leg. For example, I didn't say password. I didn't use the word weak password. I said password management, and that there's so many things about password management. I'm just going to mention about 2 or 3. Number one is that use complex and long password. Use complex, that means let it be very long in length. Let it contain different characters, words, numbers, alphabets, and yeah. So use very complex password. That's number one. Number two is that I mean, counterintuitively, we think if you store your password, if you keep storing your password on your browser or on your smartphone, we think we are not being secure because we are storing our password somewhere where if anybody gets their hands on it, they can steal our data. Actually, it's secure, it's a bit secure to put your password there because there are some advantages of storing your password on a browser on your phone. Number one, those passwords they will be not encrypted, they will be hashed. There's a difference between encryption and hashing. I'm not going to go into that. Your password will be hashed. That means it's not going to be in clear text. That's number one advantage. Number two, they actually do some services for you in the background. They check online to see whether your password has been compromised somewhere, and they will tell you, they will say, oh, this password that you stored with us, we have noticed that somebody has used it I mean, it's been compromised. It's in one of the password libraries somewhere that people could use to launch. So therefore, you would know where to change them. So that's number one, password management. Number two, safe internet browsing. When you want to do anything that has to do with those three things I said, confidentiality, integrity, and availability on the internet, you want to you want to do some online payment, you want to give some your data online, make sure your browser has a lock. There's something that's a lock. It's called SSL encryption. So when it is locked, what that means is that the communication between your browser and the internet site you are connecting to is encrypted. That means no man can come in the middle of what you're sending or what you are receiving from that. So safe internet browsing, don't click any link. One thing that if we all can learn it is that anything that is coming into you from the internet, be very careful about it. That means an email coming to you, be careful about it. Somebody giving you a phone call, be careful. Make sure that if anything comes into you, if there's a way you can go back out, but not through the same way. Somebody said, like on Friday, I spoke to my bank. They asked me to upload some documents. They gave me a link. I uploaded the document, and the lady called, sent me an email. So sorry, one other document is missing. If you can email me that document, she will add it to the other ones. And I replied, I said, do you want to give me the link to where I can upload instead of emailing you? So I consider the other documents were not via email. So why should this not be via email? So all those, being very careful about some things are not out, they're not character. For example, it's out of character for her to ask me to send documents via email because the previous ones were not via email. So but Kevin, please let me know if I've come to the end of my time so that I can, or if I have 2 or 3 minutes more. Then the other thing is keep your devices up to date with security software and patches. Like we said, some of these bad guys, they take advantage of vulnerabilities. That means the weakness of our systems. And we have some guys whose job is they keep looking for weakness and they keep providing solutions or patches, things we can deploy to correct those weaknesses. But if we don't keep our devices up to date, the bad guys out there, they know that they know the weaknesses as well, and they can exploit that. Then when you're answering phone calls, there have been calls that say we are from HMRC. Watch out for the tone of urgency. Watch out for the language. Some of them, they don't speak good English. So watch out. They will want you to do something very urgently. And if you say, "Can I call you back?" they lose their patience. So when you receive an email, a telephone call, and say, "Please, what's the best number to call you back?" Or if they say they're from HMRC, drop the call and you call HMRC from the number that you have. Don't call back from the number on your screen. And also think twice, 3 times before you click any links on an email. UK government, they sent me an email to say my tax code has changed, and they said please go and look for our website and check and log on. They didn't put any link there. So when you see links, just know that it might just be fake. When you see link in an email, just know it might just be fake. If you think it's not fake, you write the person back, or don't actually email, call. So when something comes via email, use another means, another something different from email to confirm that they send the email to you. And so these are some of the tips that we could put to use to help us improve our security posture and prevent us from becoming cybersecurity victims. I have a few more slides on data protection, but I just want to kind of sense how many minutes I have more before I go into that, and I can also skip some slides as well. But Kemi, how many minutes more do I have, please? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, Professor, I think you should just carry on. Carry on.
Yes, we can
Once
hear
the
you.
time is up, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so I will just talk about the not data protection, data privacy. They are a bit different. I'm just talking about data privacy, and I would do a bit of some tell us a bit about the theory side and what we can do more about data privacy. Data privacy is about your data that you voluntarily give out, and therefore you want to be sure that the data is used to the best of your intention. That means you give your data to likes of Facebook, to your banks, to different organizations, and they have respect for the privacy of your data. It's your private data, and you've given it to them, and therefore they must honor that. They must not use it differently from the way it used to be. I was working somewhere in an organization, and we're going to launch an HR software, and we did some security risk of that HR software because the software will be available online, and we realized that we might be exposing um, the data of our employees online if the manager is trying to approve some timesheet in the pub, and he goes to drink and he forgets to lock his phone, the data might be compromised. So we did some risk analysis, and they said, sorry, this project is costing us $10 million. So because of the risk that you have found, you mean you don't want us to go live? We said, yeah, but the risk is real. They said, you know what, we're going to go live. Well, what's the penalty? That was before GDPR. We said, oh, the ICO will fine this organization. You'll be fined if there's a breach, if there's if it's data privacy issue. And say, how many times as ICO fined organizations in the past 10 years? We went to look for the data. What was the highest they fined somebody? Maybe about $600,000, if I remember correctly. And they said, well, this is a £10 million project. You want to stop it because of a fear of 600. Therefore, let's just go ahead. We're going to ignore the risk. But EU GDPR is a game changer. Now it's not just the ICO that will not just want to fine, that will want to limit the fine. There's a fine of up to 4,000 turnover, and it's in the news 2 days ago, yesterday, that Amazon has been fined by under EU GDPR for data privacy issues, the biggest, about 400 and something million thereabout, and I think Facebook has been fined as well. So GDPR is a game changer, and it's just to protect yourself and myself. But there is more you and I can do as well to protect our data. So data privacy is different from security. Security is like the malware, ransomware, but this data privacy is your data being used in a different way that you want, and it could also result in some you might be unpleasant with how your data turns out to be used. So there are three key general players in data privacy. You call data subject, and the person you give your data to call data controller. If I give my data to Amazon, for example, they're the controller. And if Amazon is using if I give my data to my bank, they are the controller. And if my bank is using Amazon Cloud to store my data, that's Amazon Cloud is a processor. So those are just the three main players in the data privacy world. And then this is the scope of the EU. The GDPR is about the consent. You need to give your consent before they can process your data. There has to be a contract between you and who you give your data to. And before they used to say that tick this box if you do not want us to keep your data. That has changed. It has to be tick this box if you want us. That has to be explicit consent that you have to give now. And there are some legal obligations, there are some legitimate interests. Now, I'm going to quickly move into where a lot of us might not be aware, and you have some rights that have been encoded, or if you like, that have been codified into the new GDPR. Before it was Data Protection Act. This one was a directive by the EU for different countries to do whatever they like. Directive now is a regulation, not a directory. And because it's a regulation, you have some rights. So you have the right to be informed, the right of access. You can send email, or you can contact whoever has your data that you want to have access to your data. Right, you can say, I don't want to be processed in a particular way. You can say, please, I'm moving from HSBC. That's why we have open bank now. I'm moving from HSBC to Lloyd's, and they would transfer your data easily for you. All of these things have been enshrined in the EU data privacy. But what does it mean for you and I? When I think the question is, when last have you checked the data privacy sections of our social media presence? When last have you checked your data privacy section of your LinkedIn, for example? For example, if you look me on LinkedIn now, if I look you up on LinkedIn, you won't know it is me that look you up, because I chose to hide myself so that when I look somebody up, they shouldn't see me. But that also means that when I want to look you up, I might not see as much. I won't see as much information about yourself. Also, I think I've suppressed my feeds, my update. If I post something, if I update my profile, for example, if I change myself from um, whatever profile, it's not going to send it to everybody because I suppress. I don't want people to know I changed my profile. So it depends on your privacy, what you're comfortable with, and these tools, this social media, because of this EU GDPR, they have changed a lot of things, but you might not know, and therefore some of them you would have to go in there to make some changes. For example, on WhatsApp, I have my last seen is nobody. This is not my WhatsApp profile, by the way, but I set my WhatsApp to, you can see when I was last on WhatsApp. My profile photo, you can't see it except we are connected. There's so many things you can set. So when you limit your personal data that is open, that is out there in the wide, you limit the chances of social engineering. You limit the chance of somebody getting your data and creating an identity that you didn't create. Your identity, they can create it to perpetuate some attacks or some nasty things that you will not do. So that is why it's always good to go there. And I think I want to encourage that, make it a practice of once in every 6 months, because they make all of these changes, and you will know. I have an app, for example, that people use Facebook to log on to the app, and then Facebook make some changes on the app so that when you are logging on, it doesn't pass your email addresses to my app, except you actively ask Facebook to pass that. And it was making some things to fail behind the scene on my app, and I didn't know. So people were sending email, people were giving some feedbacks on the app store that the app is broken. And so I think the point I'm trying to make is that they make changes, subtle changes, some of them to be a bit, to keep your data to protect your data, some of them to use your data in a way you will not like. But they make these changes in a very subtle manner, and you wouldn't know. So therefore, make it a practice, if you can, once in every 6 months, or if you can do it more frequently, go to the key social media platform: WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, if you have presence on this, and check privacy. Just check the privacy, and make some changes there. So that is all that I have today. If you have time, I have something to kind of make it a bit more interesting and more collaborative. So I have a small 3 more minutes. Sorry, I have a small quiz that I would love everybody to take, if you can, just to measure your security awareness, and to see how we're doing, and that would also be part of that will also help us to improve to a degree. So on that note, I'm going to finish my presentation, and we're going to have question and answer time. So no, there's no point asking me now. So I want to say thank you for giving me this privilege, and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Bro Soji. We really, really appreciate that. That's really instructive to get all those information. One of the questions I've seen is about the slide. Will you be able to share the slide for the benefit of those who might just want to further educate themselves and be able to reflect using the information you've shared?
Yeah, I'll be able to share the slide. There's nothing, though, so I just need to be probably some of the things there, I copy them on the internet. So I just need to put the sources there so that it doesn't look as if it's plagiarized.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm happy to share that, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Sister Bumi is having some internet issue where she is right now. So while she's trying to get that resolved, I will bring up Thaddeus, Dr. Nye Eze to present her own session, and then afterward, Sister Bumi will come up. So Brownie, if you can just present now.
Okay, thank you very much, Bro Kemi, and thank you, Bro Soji. You know, I was smiling as Bro Kemi was trying to introduce me there. Sometimes I don't even know which name to tell people. If my name is Onyinye or Thaddeus. But yeah, my name is Onyinye Eze or Thaddeus Eze. I'll share my screen now. Can you confirm, please, if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So, just to follow up on what Bro Soji has said, basically the message is the same, and the field of cybersecurity is a very wide one. So I would prefer to just keep it brief and then answer as many questions as possible that you might have. So the NCSC, that is the National Cybersecurity Center, that is government arm of the GCHQ that deals with cybersecurity, has said this, that data is now one of the most valued commodities in the world. And Bro Soji said this. So because of the data, data about us, or data about what we do or what we have and all that, how it has become so important. It is now making us a prime target for cyber criminals, and not just cyber criminals, the big techs, okay, the big companies, or even small companies, or just put together businesses, okay? Just to say that all the images that you will see on this slide, I have taken them from NCSC site. So I would encourage all of us to have a bit of search on NCSC site. There are very good tips and free training and free materials available there that are very accessible. And these things, they have broken cybersecurity down in the language that everybody will understand. What I mean, the language, they've tried to remove the technicalities of what these things mean and presented it in a very simple terms. And that is also what I'll be trying to do here today. Okay, so check their site for so many tips and information you can see there. Now, it's no longer news that data is the new gold. Okay, you think about the money that big companies make from IT and all that is nothing compared to the oil market and all that. So hackers are after our data, big tech are after our data. Sometimes we hear about cookies, things like our browsing history, our browsing activities, what we do online. You hear about data privacy or data protection. You hear about encryption. The other time, WhatsApp came up with new privacy, new privacy and data usage. And everybody said, no, we are leaving WhatsApp and we're going to another platform because they promise encryption of our message and all that. And the question is, where do you think those data are encrypted? And I just want to bring something to your attention quickly. Data is encrypted when the two of us are talking. For example, if we are talking over WhatsApp, that end-to-end encryption, that encryption of the messages we are sending is ensured. But the message that I receive on my phone is not encrypted on my phone. And because many of us, if not all of us, use cloud to back up our charts, some of these cloud storages don't offer encryption of this data. So the data is not encrypted where it is backed up online or on our phone. Anybody who gets access to our phone and can unlock our phone has access to our messages. And there are a whole lot of things going on that you need to keep your head around. And the question is, can you keep up with them? Can you really hide your data from the big tech? Before you use Facebook or you use Apple devices or any software, there is a privacy notice that you tick and say that, yes, I accept whatever terms, usage terms and all that. But if I ask now, I know there are many people like me who don't read these things at times. Okay, so there's so much that you don't read. And Bro Soji mentioned that before, that the only way to stay safe is just to switch off everything. Don't use internet and all that. But that is not feasible in today's world, because even if you don't use these things, your data is captured by the government, by the council, by HRMC, different places. So whereas we can do little or nothing about the data that the big tech have, the big tech guys have about us, what we can do something about, and significantly, is what we put out there. Okay, what we have on our smart systems. So I usually tell people, anything you think you don't want a second eye to see, don't have it on your device, on your phone, or your anywhere digital. Okay. The big tech guys will continue to have this data, use it for marketing, and in a bid to collect so much of them, the hackers will hack them and set them off and make more money. So many attacks or so many issues are out there that we need to remind ourselves of. Professor Jim mentioned some of them before, and there's a myth I have seen in my research and my study so far in cybersecurity. Many people think that cybersecurity is about the big guys. It's for Tesco, it's for the banks, it's for this industry, it's for that company. It's not for me. Until it gets down to you, you don't really understand how serious this is. I use Bro Kemi as an example. Sorry, Bro Kemi, I didn't ask for your permission, but I know it was open there. At some point, somebody almost got into his WhatsApp because they used some social engineering on him to almost get access to his account, and then it suddenly dawns on you that this is real. Okay, people get access to your Facebook, to your Twitter, or to your WhatsApp, and before you know it, they start sending messages to your friends, people on your contact list about investing in one business or one portfolio or all that. So there are several attack vectors about social engineering, and all of them involves the act of trying to deceive you into giving up something or into taking an action. So we take phishing, for example, sending you deceptive emails, or phishing, doing that using a phone call. And I need to remind us that these days, before now, what we used to see is that they call you on the phone to tell you XYZ, and straight away you know what they are doing, and you say no, you don't want to do that. They threaten you, they curse you, and they abuse you, and off they go. These days, they are more patient and more persistent. About last week, I got a call. Somebody was calling from BT, that my internet was slow, was this, they were going to do this, they needed me to do that. I knew it was scam. I told the person, because I was busy, I didn't have the time. I said, I know you're scamming me. You want to scam me. It doesn't work. Just go away. And they tried to convince me, okay, that it was not scam. So they made it look real. But I knew, I followed on with them. And at a point I said, you know what, I called the call. So be mindful that whereas you might think that you just hit them back by saying, I know what you're doing, and they get off you. Sometimes they don't. These days, they want to stay and try to convince you, win your trust, that this is not a scam. So they do that by phone call. They do that by sending you SMS, claiming to come from PayPal, from Amazon. Up to today, I still receive email from supposedly from Zenith Bank. I haven't had a Zenith Bank account, but I keep receiving emails about my account in Zenith Bank. Now there's this one about people knocking on your door and pretending to be the delivery man or pretending to be somebody else. I've deliberately used the parcel delivery person, because sometimes we have this stereotype that the hacker has to be a young guy, who looks in a certain way. That is not always the case. It might be a woman, it might be an older person, it might be anybody really. But the thing is, you need to be very vigilant and follow the advice and the ideas, for example, Bro Soji has mentioned. Another issue, another point I want to talk about, which is the last point, is passwords. There are usually three types of attacks on passwords. Not two really. The first one, shoulder surfing, or over the shoulder. People looking over your shoulder to see the keys you type in when you're entering your password. Or I was watching a conference one day, and there it was shown live, and somebody was trying to log in on their account. And I almost read all the keys that they typed. It was a live event. Probably that person didn't know that there was camera or there were cameras everywhere, and he was just trying to log into his account. And that way you could lose your password to someone. Some people try to remember their password by writing it on a post-it note and sticking it somewhere, or putting it in their diary and hiding it in somewhere else. Please don't write your password down. And the question is, okay, how do I remember my password? I have account, I have Facebook, I have Yahoo, I have this, that. I'll give you idea of how to do that. Another attack on password is dictionary attack, where attackers use a list of popularly known or default passwords to try to hack into your account. The most used passwords in the UK include password, or password 123, or 123456, or the combination of the first 6 letters of your keyboard starting with K, with Q. Okay, so these are very weak way of choosing a password. Another attack is a brute force attack, which will always be successful, and that is the attacker trying to combine all possible characters in order to find the password you've used, because you're not going to manufacture your own character. So if your password is very short, it is very prone to brute force attack. And the solution here is use strong and long password. So I've mentioned 3 things. Don't write your password down, use a unique password, and use a long and strong password. So the question now is, what is a long password? What is a strong password? There are many opinions out there. Many people will tell you this is a strong password, this is not a strong password, but I would say make up your mind, but see what information that is out there. And this is a typical example of what I advise people on how to get a strong password. Start with a very unique phrase that only you know, or it is a phrase that is important to you. It could be, I love my dog. It could be, I am the boy from this place, or I am the person, whatever phrase. But in this case, I've used the blue triangle lizard, okay, which is a phrase. Now, this becomes my my keyword for my password. Now, please, this might be a strong password to some people, but it's not good enough. The next thing you can do is to make it alphanumerical. So you see, where you have letters like E, you change it to 3. Where you have letters like S, you change it to 5. Letters like I, you change it to 1 or exclamation mark. Okay, that is another level of security you've added to the password. And then you might also want to add special characters. In this case, you can add the and symbol instead of S, or in place of S, or you can add the exclamation mark in place of L or in place of I, whatever you want to use. You can add the number 2 in place of the letter Z. Okay, then for me, this is a kind of strong password, but there is also one other thing you need to do, because another thing that makes a password strong is if you use a combination of small letters and big letters. But now this is how I suggest or I advise you come up with passwords for different accounts. So you have a single phrase, a unique phrase to you that you want to use. And you have tried to combine letters and numbers to it. And the next thing you do is, let's say you want to create a password for Facebook. Then you choose the first 2 letters of that account. In this case, Facebook, you add FA, and then the last 2 letters of that Facebook again on the end of the password. And then you can start the first letter with a caps, and you can end it with a cap that is a big letter. If it is Yahoo, okay, the first 2 letters YA and YO, and double O at the other end. Now, in my definition, this is a strong password, but it is relative, I must say. Passwords can be stronger than this, can be longer than this, but this alone is not enough. And another thing you must, as a doctrine, something you must do is using multi-factor authentication. And it still surprises me that people still don't use this today. And I used the example of Bro Kemi the other time. And the reason why the attacker didn't succeed in hacking into his account is because Bro Kemi was using two-step verification, or two-step authentication, or two-factor authentication. So this is where you use your phone number, so that if somebody wants to log into your account, or you want to log into your account on a new system, it will send you a text message, or it will send you an authentication in your app or something for you to verify that. So even if somebody manages to compromise your strong password, they still will not be able to log into your account without your phone, or without the authentication app, or without the multi-factor authentication that you use. So if there is anything you want to take out from this meeting today, please, if you haven't done this, you need to do two-factor authentication on all your accounts. And the last point I want to emphasize, Bro Soji mentioned it, is saving your passwords on your browsers. For example, your Chrome browser. The good thing there is that once your password is compromised somewhere, it notifies you immediately that this password has been compromised, or it tells you when your password is weak, or you shouldn't use this kind of password. So it is very, very important that you do that. Remember, two-factor authentication or two-step verification, if you like, depending on the system you're using. Use a strong password, something that is unique to you. Please do not write your password down. You can use this method that I have put here to try to memorize your password. The only thing you need to remember here is your key phrase, your unique phrase. And once you remember it, you can work out your password for Facebook, your password for Yahoo, for your Gmail, and for any other account. Okay, thank you very much. I will leave it here and take questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thaddeus. That's really helpful. It will surprise you that you can never be too smart. I was telling you about I almost got hacked, and thank God for two-factor authentication. just about last week Sunday, I just got another ping on my phone that somebody from Singapore has tried to log into my Yahoo account, but he was asking me, am I the one trying to log in? And I know I was not in Singapore. And I just tell you, despite the fact that you keep changing your password from time to time, you keep doing all sorts of things, hackers are always trying to beat it. And that's why two-factor authentication is not an option, but a necessity. I'm going to bring up Dr. Bumi Abel. She's having some challenge to bring up and with her internet, so she's not able to share a slide with us. Apology for that. We will get the slide at a later point and we'll be able to share that with everyone. But I will just want her to come up and she'll be able to speak to us. So Dr. Bumi, are you there?
Hello, hello. This was meant to be for yesterday, but I am doing it this morning. Good morning, where there's a lot of brightness. Happy new month, by the way. Thank you for joining in to listen to this. First of all, I tender my apologies to the NACF brethren for yesterday's hiccup. I had a talk and technology failed me woefully. I couldn't believe my eyes after so much planning. But I guess there's always a first time for everything. And so I would just move on. The only thing I didn't do yesterday, I did everything I could to connect to have my talk. But the only thing I didn't do, I'll tell you, was to cry because it was so frustrating. But hey, it's a new month, it's a new day. And like I promised, I said I will be doing this. And I want to be able to stick to my 15 to 20 minutes. So let's get ahead. Now, the talk is about online. Thanks to, thanks to Mr. Soji Agwola yesterday and to Dr. Thaddeus Eze for all you spoke about the cybersecurity and all of that. You are the experts in the field, so kudos to you. I doff my cap. And thanks to Brother Kemi for the in and out and up and down. And I'll go straight ahead to my presentation. So today I will be talking about online fraud or crime or cybercrime awareness. So a lot has been said, but I believe maybe a few things I could chip in because a lot has been said by the experts. I must tell you, a lot. So I will just go with what I planned for yesterday. So my name is Olubunmi Abel. Thank you for listening. And I'll be talking about the awareness of online fraud. There's so many. I'll start with the car apps or fake check. Now, this is where scammers send emails with messages telling you, oh, paste a particular advert on your car, on your car. Just all you need to do is drive it around and we will pay you about $250 to $350 a week to do that for us. And I'm sure you must have seen where people paste something on Free Radio or something about BT or any of those organizations. And this is a current scam because what happens is they actually pay you, send you a check, and you feel, oh, I've got it all sorted. These people cannot be fake. It's all well and good. They send you a check, you cash it in, and then you send it to your bank, and they tell you again that, oh, actually that money you will need to pay part of it to, you need to send some of it to a particular company who would put the sticker on your car for you so that you can have the stickers or the prints on your car that you will be driving around. And, you'll feel, oh, yeah, at least they've sent a check, so it's too good to be true. And you fall for it. what you wouldn't know is that after a few days, your bank will call you and say, or maybe they'll tell you an information saying, oh, this check has actually bounced. It was a fake check. So you would have paid the person who was to paste things on your car, of course, which will never materialize. And you'd have paid them. You can't trace their account because they will definitely use all this wiring of money. So you would have lost the money and you will be heartbroken for it. So don't fall for any of those car wrap scams. And the next one will be the family emergency scam. Yes, this is the one where, calls are made to like grandparents. Usually they're elderly people, grandparents who have grandchildren. They could target them and say, oh, grandma, I'm being arrested. Could you please send some money to bail me and all of that? And, of course, they target the old elderly for this because they know how kind-hearted they are. They have this special love for grandchildren. I can say from my own dad with my own grandchildren and his other grandchildren. So they have a special love. And if anything happens, it's hard for them to even think and say, oh, all they need to do is they want to get you out of that situation. And so sometimes the scammers use this opportunity to prey on elderly people. And before you know it, you say, oh, don't tell dad, don't tell mom. And it's all rampant. So you can read more about that on my screen. Don't fall for it. And mostly is the elderly ones or the loved ones that get targeted. So do not attend to family emergency scan. The worst you can do is say, okay, I am going to tell, or the best, let me not say the worst. The best you can do is, okay, let me ask your dad or ask your mom. And they say, oh, no, don't ask. Oh, yes, sure, I won't have to ask. And you see that they will end the call or just so that you don't suspect them. So that's another one that is so rampant. Another one is the fake Amazon Apple support calls. You would have heard calls where they say, oh, you have, for example, Apple could say, no, sorry, Amazon could say, oh, you have a Prime, Amazon Prime, and they've charged you so amount. That happened to me, so I know what I'm saying, and I have it on my videos, so you can check my videos. After this, you will see where I actually had a discussion with someone who says he's from Amazon company, trying to get me to get my money back, trying to get money back to me or cash back, just because I was enrolled on a Premier Amazon Prime membership, which of course if you look at the video, you will see, I don't want to let too much out. So check the video, you will see my conversation with them and how they got tired of me and they had to cut off. So yeah, you could find out that these scammers are using these big companies, Amazon, Apple, support calls, saying, oh, message, there's something has gone wrong with your account, and they could have seen a suspicious purchase, or you've lost a package, or an order you made can't be fulfilled, so you need to give them some details so they can track it for you or pay you back some money. Tell you they are all scam. Have a listen to this and you will understand. So this is an example of one of the calls you could have received or may receive or have heard about.
Account has been breached. Before using any Apple device, please contact the Apple Support Advisor. Press 1 to connect with Apple Support Advisor. Press 2 to listen to this message again. Or if you wish to contact us later, please call us on our toll-free number, 208-262-0000. Thank you.
Okay, so you see there that they will tell you to click a number. Don't bother clicking, just hang up the call. Another one is the overpaid bill scam or cash refund. This is where companies, well, so-called people from companies, representing companies, of course, they're scammers, will say, oh, we've paid you too much on a utility bill and we've made a mistake, so you need we need to pay you back. Just get your account, and I mean, send your details or press this number to get your money or discount back. And you begin to wonder, if I'm actually your customer, how come you don't have my details? You can always send it back and all that. But they want to prey on, oh, extra money, something I wasn't expecting. So they will prey on that. And if you are not careful, you will be a victim of that scam. So be careful. Whenever something is too good to be true, make sure you check and check and check and check and check again. Okay. Package waiting scam. Or most of us have received this by text, by emails, or and they tell you, oh, there's a parcel waiting for you. What you need to do to claim your payment is just pay this so amount of money, and it will be delivered to you. So you'll be like, who must have sent it and all of that. Anyway, all you would need to do is to just ignore those kind of calls if you are not expecting a package. And if you are by any means expecting a package, you can call Royal Mail by yourself, or go to your nearest company, Royal Mail company, to find out, because they will not charge you extra for any unpaid any package they have sent, except if it's there's some mails that people send and they tell you, which is the genuine ones, where they have not put the correct amount of stamp and they have to contact you. For you to get the letter, you need to pay this amount, but that should be done at their office, okay, not anywhere else. All right, let's go on quickly because I am looking at my time. Remember, you can always send a comment down below to say what your experiences are or what questions you have about this. Another one is a code scam. There is always a group of scammers posing as friends and relatives asking for verification codes, and if you, for any reason, send them back a code or anything that has to do with codes, just don't fall for it. These codes are needed when you're signing or making a new account on another phone. For example, if you go on Google, if you open a Google account, if you do a two-step verification, they could tell you, oh, for you to use it on a different device, you need to show that you are actually the one using this account on a different device, and then they send you a code. So that code thing, people are actually using, scammers are using it. Don't fall for codes. You can see examples of what I have on the screen. These people have actually been duped and scammed and defrauded using codes. So please don't fall for it. The worst you can do, or the best you can do, is ignore such messages. Block those people sending you such things. Please don't hesitate, just block them. Another one is the income scam. This one is so rampant when they tell you, or investment scam. I'll say it could be income or investment. They'll tell you, there's you can earn more by working from home, or you can we're recruiting, you can make big money, or you can be your own boss, and there's so much of them around there. But not every one of them, not all of them are correct, are actually true. Not all of them are right. Some are actually, in fact, majority of them are scams. So you want to be careful of anything like, oh, invest this, or I have a company, they do investment, or you can actually have a multiple stream of income using this insurance company, investment company, and all of that. Please just avoid them when you see such. Let the alarm bell ring in your head when you see such. I hope I haven't been boring you. Okay, thank you for staying so far with me. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you wish. Another one is the COVID relief scam. Yeah, this is where the police are warning of a new scam on text where people are actually using the COVID situation, COVID vaccine, to scam other people. They will tell you, oh, you need to pay so amount for the vaccine, or for you to be at the top of the queue, pay this amount. And these are all linked to fake NHS pages which are not, of course, they are not true. The government wouldn't tell you to pay anything. We pay our taxes, and so we get this free from the NHS. And so please avoid any of such. If you're not sure, ask. Don't just go blind. Don't assume, just ask. And there will be people who will give you the right direction. Now, there is another one. This one is actually, anyone can fall for this. Anyone, I tell you. A landline fraud call. These are scams where criminals use cheap technology to exploit millions of people. What they do is they call you, trick you into maybe telling you they're from your bank, or they could tell you to download software to take control of your computer. So the reason why this could be very dangerous to many is because there's something called call clearing delay time. I tried it on my landline as well. It was about 15 seconds. Yes, it was about 15 seconds. So when someone calls you on the landline and they drop the call, when they call you on the landline, let's say they call you from the other end saying, oh, your bank, please call us, please call your bank immediately. And of course, they will make it sound so real. Oh, this is from your bank. Please call your bank. The bank at the back. The number at the back of your card. You've got a fraudulent act on your account, or whatever it is they want to say. Oh, you go of cash refund. Call the number on the back of your card, and we will get in touch with you, or we'll proceed from there. And you will think it's true, isn't it? Because you're calling the number at the back of your card. And when you call that, what you don't realize is when you call that number, the same people are picking it up. How does that happen? Let me tell you. On landlines, there is something called the delay time. So delayed disconnection time. This is where sometimes people have phones, maybe in the sitting room, in the lounge, in the bedroom, or you have to go a couple of stairs to pick it up from the other end. So what happens with landlines is it gives you a couple of minutes before the line goes disconnected, so that while you're moving from one room to the other, you can still have a bit of time to pick the call from the other end. So for people who have phones all around the house, you understand what I'm saying. Now, what happens is when the person calls you and you are answering the call, they say, oh, call your bank with the card on the back of your card for a fraudulent act. You say, oh, thank you. And you say, oh, I'll drop the call now and I'll call my bank immediately. And of course, with what you've heard, maybe you've got thousands in your account, you don't want it stolen. Definitely, you will want to call immediately. And this person calls, but because this person hasn't hanged up, this person calling will think, oh, okay, I can still call my bank. So you put in the numbers, this hasn't hanged up, and this has hanged up, but calling, oh, this is my bank account, my bank calls, but then these people, because they are still connected, that's the way landline works, because they are still connected within the delayed disconnection time, they pick up the call and say, hello, yes, this is your bank, whatever bank it is, and how can I help you today? And you begin to talk, and they begin to, of course, you know what happens next. You will think you're calling your bank, but then they're asking you information about, okay, can you verify your date of birth, your account number, and all those things, and you begin to divulge it, thinking, because you're under stress. So please, what you can do with that is leave it for some minutes. Leave it for maybe 5 minutes, depending on what your delayed disconnection time on your landline is. And for you to know, you need to call your landline, or maybe don't use a landline for such. Use another phone. Use a mobile to call them rather than using that same landline, because it might be fraudulent. So that's one tip for you, and I hope you got it. Fake emails and email addresses. A fake email address will normally contain random numbers or a mix of lower and uppercase letters or misspelled words. So don't fall for it. All you need to know is when you move your mouse over any email address, they might say, oh, from Donald Trump, or from Boris Johnson, or from Barack Obama, or whoever it is. And then you'll be like, ooh, this is my lucky day. You move your mouse over it and you see the jargon of email address that you can't even read, put in numbers because they were all concocted with, technology to put random numbers in, and then they'll still be able to open an email address with using a known name to mask that email address. So just be careful. Make sure you check whatever email address you receive. Some people could put something .gov1.uk, and because you saw gov.uk, you think, oh, this is from the government. But the one there is very important. The one there makes a whole lot of difference. So be careful. Some people put extra characters. Some people put, just like Bumi Abel, someone could put Bumi Abel double L at the end, or double A or something, and you will think, oh, this is from me, this is from Bumi, and it's actually not from me. So be careful, be careful, be careful. You can't go wrong by being very careful. Now, finally, my message. I know I have been talking for long. I'm so sorry that this has gone for so long, but you will gain from it, I tell you. Finally, my advice to us is beware and be aware. There are no fakes without an original. So because there is an original car app, there's an original income making, multiple sources of income, and all of these things, scammers are using those originals to make fake deception, fake stuff out there. They're populating it with fake stuff. So I always say, even with the gospel of Christ, I tell you, there's so many fake ministers, but because they are original, there will be fake. So there is no fake without an original. So don't think, oh, everything is fake, because you never know when the right one comes your way. So scammers are clever. People will say, oh, they're just illiterates who don't or the dropouts from school. They are clever. They are smart, I tell you, because for you to go on to using technology to do such things, even if they have learned, even if they were illiterates, but they have learned it, they are clever and they know how to sway their way. So don't think you're too smart for them, because they are clever and they wanna, some of them are actually, I don't know, maybe winning medals for it in their caucus for how many people they scam. So just be aware. Don't take it for granted. They are clever. And the vulnerable are mostly targeted. The old ones, the elderly, the younger generation, the children, these are the people that are targeted. Even people who are rich are targeted, because you're vulnerable when you're rich, you have a lot of money. So many people are targeted. Just be aware. And don't click on sure links. Don't click links you're not sure of. There's so many that come on social media nowadays and say, oh, click this to get into that or to do that. Please, you don't need too much of all of these links. Don't click any link you're not sure of, except you trust that person, and you can actually call them and find out, did you send me this before you click it, and what is it about before I click it, and all of that. You can't be too safe. So I mean, you need to take as many precautions as you want. It's better safe than sorry, all right? So anyone can be a victim, okay? Even smart people have been outsmarted, if there's anything like that. So just be aware that anyone can be a victim of these scammers. They will sound so good to be true that you will think you've done everything within your means to get it all, but they are always bringing in they're always on top of their game. So we also need to be on top of our game, because anyone can be a victim. Ignorance is no excuse. Once your money goes out of your account, by mercy, by grace, some people get it back, but majority don't. So ignorance is no excuse. If you need to listen to this video over and over again, and to my colleague's video, what was done on NACF, please go and listen and listen and listen again, and share. Let people be aware so that they don't fall for this. So many people, is when they fall for it, they now talk about their story and be like, oh, I wish I had known this before. And finally, like I said, on all of those, don't click any link. Make sure you have your two-step verification and all of that. But finally, discernment is a gift from God. We can ask him to give us discernment to make right decisions with all of these people, all of these parasites around us. So thank you for listening to this. I hope it has been beneficial to you. If you've got any comments, please like, share, subscribe, and I will be happy to receive your comments. My name is Bumi Abel. Thank you very much for listening.
Sorry about that. I think where she is, the signal is really bad. She will record a session, send it to us, and we'll be able to include that. I want to open this for the question and answer session at this point in time. I will start with a few questions that has come in, and then if more questions do come in, I will bring that up. Some of the questions that I've got here, one of the questions say, should I accept all cookies? Bronye, you mentioned cookies and on our browser. Well, I will give that to, maybe you start, then I will ask Brasoji also to speak to that. Somebody is asking, should we be accepting all cookies?
Okay, my straight answer will be no, and I will try to explain. Cookies. Okay, I won't go into the technicality of it, like cookie stealing, where attackers can steal your cookie and impersonate you and log in. That is of the scope here. But for cookies, what companies do with cookies is that, because of the GDPR, Bro Soji mentioned, government now mandates that before you take any information, including browsing history or the kind of places, the kind of items that browsers look at, you need to get their consent, and their consent should not be implied. They need to take an action by clicking something. So you see these days that when you go to a site, they say we use cookies, manage cookies, and then you click on that button. Some of them are so smart that when they do it, when you click on that button, what you see before you is a very bold and highlighted accept cookies. So you don't remember to see the tiny one by the side that says manage cookies, where you can see the options. My advice will be, unless you want to be kept informed by the company about their product, and let's say, for example, when you visit somewhere and you see something and they begin to send you marketing, they begin to market that into you, then you can accept the cookies. But if you want to limit the kind of marketing you get, adverts you get, you shouldn't be accepting all cookies. Okay, some cookies are not optional. There are the technical cookies that the owners of the site use for the management of the site. Those ones that they don't give you option about that. They call it functional cookies. Okay, but for the other cookies, you have option to accept or not to accept. I don't accept all, and I would advise you don't. But if you want to be kept informed about what they offer, it's all about marketing. Then they will collect information about you, about your browsing history and all that, your browsing information, and then get back to you.
Thank you. Another question here. I don't know if Brasoji has anything to say to that before I move on.
No. Just that I concur that my default position is not to accept. So I always look for managed cookies, and I try not to accept, except the functional ones that you can't do anything with, but to accept them. Yeah, so I agree with him on that.
In the same light, this is a question coming from me now. From my own experience, I'm being suspicious when you have the option to reject all. And I've used reject all, but I don't know what is lying behind. If reject all actually is rejecting all options or not. But I still reject all. What do you advise? Do you think reject all is actually configured as it is being communicated that is rejecting all the cookies? I don't know.
Yeah, but like Dr. Nye said, one of the driver behind so many cookies or notification to accept or reject cookies is because of the law that says they must explicitly ask for your consent. So if it is a reputable organization that want to play by the law, reject cookies, reject all is reject all, because they if there's a litigation that you didn't give them your consent to collect your cookies, then they can go through their record and they will want to stand by what it mean by reject all. But there are some dubious organizations that, like you said, reject all might be configured behind the scene, not to reject all. But the point is, if there is no any other restrictive option, the most restrictive option for you is reject all, then I think if you suspect that reject all is not equal to reject all, the best thing is just to leave the website and not to continue, except if there's another more restrictive option. But reject all seems to be the most restrictive option. So yeah, I think the summary is they will be truthful with reject all, some might not be, but it's your call to stay on that website or to leave.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just want to add to that. In addition to what Brosoji has said, reputation here matters a lot, and sometimes there are websites that don't even give you option to reject cookies. You have to accept the cookies before you can see the information they want to share. I see this many times, and what I do is that I just close the site. If I don't have option to manage the cookies on your site, I don't use that site. So you need to make that judgment whether you trust these people, and that again calls our attention to being very careful. Okay, only know where you consume your information. I would go for a reputable organization, and I know the next question will be, how do you know reputable organization? That can be relative again, but there are things that can throw. There are things that give things out. So be careful, and if you can get that information somewhere else, why not go somewhere else and get that information? I wouldn't be forced to accept cookies in order for me to see information. That actually is illegal. The GDPR says that you shouldn't force people to accept cookies before you present them whatever information you want to present them. But I find out that American companies, mostly sites from America, try to work around that GDPR.
Thank you very much. Another question here is saying, what is the advisable age to allow children full access to the internet?
You see, there's a silence there. I think that's beyond my remit here. But as a parent, I will answer as a parent, not as an expert, because I think we need to ask those who do what's it called now, prevent or something. But I don't know about age. But all I know is that I keep an eye on what my kids do online, as much as I can, just to be very careful. What I would say as a parent is, when I think I can trust my son in terms of his judgment, and in terms of him being safe online, I can let him a bit loose. But then when he becomes an adult, obviously, that's a different ball altogether.
Yes, and I think that's spot on. There's no formula as to an age. I think it depends on the maturity of the child, and a child of 12, one child that is 12 might be more mature than another child that is equally 12. So it's about knowing your child, knowing what you can trust them to do on the internet, and therefore making the decision to allow them to. There are times that when my daughters were growing up, there were times that we had to collect their phone because we felt they spent too much time on the internet. So there's no age per se, but knowing your child, know what they've been exposed to, and once in a while, just call them into one corner and say, show me what's happening on your phone. If they won't feel threatened that you're intruding into their life, you have that relationship with them. Just once in a while, with unplanned, just try to understand, and that will give you a sense of what they've been doing on the internet. And there are tools as well that you could use to number one, to limit what they can see, to limit the time they can spend on the internet, and to see what's been happening on the internet as well. So yeah, but I don't think there's any age particularly.
Thank you very much. That was my next question. That will you encourage or will you advise parents to install WebSense on their children application or even on adult applications to kind of filter sites that you believe as parents the children should be visiting, because some of these just pop up on their internet, on their laptop, or on their phone? What's your experience and what will you advise?
Again, I think it's also subjective. There's no hard and fast rule, but my first port of call for me is that I trust you until you prove otherwise. So I won't install it on my child's phone until I sense that they're going to some site that I would not want them to go. So it's not going to be my first port of call. But if you think, you suspect that they're being influenced by friends, excuse me, by friends or colleagues to visit some site that you do not support, and you first talk to them about it, and you don't see improvement, and I think that's when you should use technology to monitor what they do. Otherwise, allow them to decide on their own by guiding them.
Sorry, can I say something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Right.
I am so sorry that it's got to this stage where I had to join in late. But anyway, about the age of accountability for children, like the speakers have said, it varies from one child to the other. But what I would like to mention is for every software they use, for every app, there is an age limit. So you need to check the age limit of every app they install. Something like Facebook, I don't think you can install until you're 13 or 15, I can't remember now. So different apps have their age limits, and they've put that age limit for a reason. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry, just to add also, using technology to filter what the kids see or the sites they visit is a good idea. Okay, a starting point, I would say. But we also need to remember, I think we've heard that example in this house of kids using VPN, okay, to bypass those. So you need to weigh those options, and I would stand with Bro Soji here, when he says, I will trust you until I have a signal that I can no longer allow you to do that because of your own safety. So kids can bypass that depending on age, again, depending on their experience and all that. But so don't just think that you've done this and you've ticked all the boxes. That there's no one solution that fits everything.
Thank you very much, and that's really been helpful with those questions. I don't have any other question at the moment. There's another question that talked about good password, but I think that was dealt with in Brown's presentation. I don't know, unless Bosoji has something else to add to that. That's the last question here at this point.
Somebody is raising their hands.
Okay, I can't see that.
It's me, Bro Kemi.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So actually, I have a lot of questions, but I think the one on cookies have actually been dealt with. Thank you, Bro Soji and Bro Oye for that. And thank you, Stabumi, for your additional on children. I think I need to apply that to my 12-year-old, to be candid. I think the other thing I want to ask here is talking about when you receive these cold calls. And I know Bro Soji said that one of the signs you have to look at is they do not speak good English. But you would, I think what I've noticed is, and I know it's still happening right now, a lot of these organizations, HSBC in particular, a lot of these banking organizations, they outsource their call centers to India. So actually, for example, if you call your Halifax now, they will transfer you to a customer service based in India. And then you end up listening to these people. So I think, so when you now receive these cold calls from these individuals, I think the first few were like, oh, maybe it's a call from my bank. So from your experience then, how do you differentiate really? How do you ascertain yourself that the call you're receiving is not really, is genuine or is fake? How do you ascertain yourself that the call you're receiving is actually genuine?
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, sorry, let me just quickly say something. So number one, I think the question about how do you ascertain is good, but the other question is, do you really have to speak to them because they called you? Remember, I said anything that comes into you, be suspicious. So therefore, what I will first do is that, since it's my bank, I would drop the call and call the number that I know. And I'll say, I got a call from you about this topic, then they will pass me to the right person. But if it comes from me, if moments I suspect or I'm not comfortable, I drop the call. But number one, if you don't want to drop the call, it's not just the speaking good English alone that will give them out. Like you said, some of them, some of the organizations, they are source call centers to countries, and those guys might. And I think one thing I found out in those countries that they may not have good accent, but UK companies take time to make sure they get people that can speak English. They may have accent. That's number one. Number two is that it's not just the accent or good English. Also, they try to pressurize you to do something. So that's, they try to pressurize to do something. If you tell them that if you want to drop the call, they will try to say don't drop the call. They won't even tell you if it's HSBC, for example, HSBC, and you say, oh, sorry, you know what, I don't have time, and they will say, oh, when can we call back, or once you have your time, could you please make sure you call us back? So you can gauge by how the pressure they put on you. You can gauge by even how, I think they've also improved. They will say, we will start with the 3 letter of your postcode. Can you complete that? That means they don't want to give everything. They don't want you to also tell them everything. So you could sense that this is genuine because they're not asking me for my full postcode. They start by giving me the first 3 they know about me, and they want me to confirm the one that I have. So there are so many signs apart from good English, pressure, how they try to authenticate you, and if on top of those you're still not comfortable, then you can actually drop and you make an outbound call rather than receiving an inbound call.
Yeah. Then thank you so much. One last question from me really is, I think the question is, our broadband suppliers, are they really selling our data? I think the reason why I'm asking this question is, I noticed that when we watch CNN, for example, the kind of adverts we see are more African kind of adverts, Nigerian selling data and everything. So, and I know from the presentations I've heard tonight, I can tell that big companies are using our data for a lot of things, to channel marketing and all of that. Because I noticed that the same CNN I'm watching at home, and I'm only seeing African adverts. When I go to workplace and I stay in front of the same CNN trying to work for a lot of hours, I don't see a dime of a Nigerian advert on on that same CNN program that I've been watching in the four corners of my house. So the question is it then that our broadband suppliers are using our data to actually tailor marketing towards their clients?
Sorry, I will allow somebody else to answer that, but I just want to ask one question before the person can answer. Is your CNN that you watch, is it digital CNN? That means, is it an app on your TV?
No, it's we have the CNN
from
what do they call the Skybox, like
Okay.
Skybox. We have the box, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
and yeah.
So if anybody wants to answer the question, sorry.
Oh, okay. So, by the way, can I say that anybody in the house can actually contribute to this conversation, and people can also raise their hands to answer. I don't have all the knowledge here, but I can't say who sells or who takes our data, and this is one of the reasons I said in my presentation. Can you keep up with these things? There are a lot of boxes we tick. I mean, we got a new TV the other day, and there are things you need to accept in order to even switch on a feature on your TV, and so many terms of use and policies you need to accept. Okay, and I've asked that question before. How come that I'm just seeing mostly Nigerian and African-based advert on CNN and other? But I think my answer will be that yes, someone out there has our data. Okay, and AI. This is where AI comes in. Okay, AI is working on this data, and not just your TV. Sometimes what we see online on social media. If you dig deep, most of us have been manipulated because we have given the text, we've ticked some boxes somewhere we didn't even realize by allowing them to use our data. And because of that, AI is presenting to us what they think is better for us, or the kind of information that we need to see, not necessarily all the information that are out there. Okay. We can't run away from this kind of marketing. But yes, someone out there has your data. About who sells it, who sells it to these guys, and who does that is what I don't know.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
That's correct. So okay, I might not be your internet provider, for example. Somebody wants to talk? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it might not be your internet provider. It might be the digital footprint you leave with all the devices in your home. You browse the internet, all of them use the same IP address when you go out. They use the same public IP address. If you're at home, you are using your broadband at home, your laptop, your TV, your iPhone, they use the same IP address. So therefore, if you have given your data, like Boroye said, somebody, for example, and some cookies you've selected, that might be bound or linked to that same IP address. And the digital, even though it's a skybox you are using, it's probably a digital skybox, even though it's not an app on your TV, but the skybox itself is a digital skybox, which is also using the same IP address that you're using to connect to the internet to a degree. So therefore, your CNN, the skybox knows that you are watching with the same IP address, and that is linked to some of the data you've given somehow, which CNN may then use their AI to map that data to your preference, and they know you are now on Sky and you're using the same IP address, and they present that information to you. So, like Boroye said, we can't hide anymore. So we inadvertently you sign something, and whether we like it or not, we use all your devices at home, use the same IP address to connect to the internet.
Thank you very much. I've got Sister Bumi here. I'm just going to give her about 5 to 10 minutes to just share something.
Okay.
Sister Bumi, can you speak? Yeah.
Yes, sorry, like I said, I apologize. My internet was just in Croydon. I never believed it will happen this way, but anyway, we're here. So
the network with the network is really bad, Sister Bumi. I think you should.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we've dropped the video, so let's see if the
Hello?
voice is better.
Sorry, Stabumi, the network is really bad. I think we would be rounding up because we're close to our time. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I really appreciate the topic that Stabumi was talking about because I've had series of experience in the last 6 months to 1 year around those things, and I almost fall a victim of one of those people. One of the things I just want to share personal experience. Some of them called, they told me about the investment and everything. And I told them, give me your detail, let me do my due diligence. And I went to do my due diligence. I checked the company, when was it registered on the company house. I checked the directors. I went onto the LinkedIn to check their directors. And you find out either some of these are just registered a month or two, and they're telling you that they are going to go onto the London Stock Exchange. They will go and do a publication on London Stock Exchange that has no bearing what they're doing. I will want to encourage that when you get any call asking for investment opportunity, don't just jump at it. Some call me, they told me that they are registered in Scotland, they are into private investment, they are moving people on private jet. As I send me your data, and I did all my due diligence, and I found out they are scammed. So some call me, they said they are into art, blah, blah, blah. I said, send me your data. What I'm trying to say here is when it looks so good, when it looks so real, when it looks so professional, don't jump at it. Some of them, one, have even filled their form and everything, and I said, wait a minute, how many people are the promoter of this company? And I went to company and I was look at the number of shares. Why are the people that are director not holding share in the same company that you want me to buy? So what I'm trying to say here is, please, let's be careful. Let's be careful. Thank you. I don't know if anyone.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but maybe if you put off your video, maybe your voice might be better, but we couldn't hear.
Is that all right?
Yes, but you have really invested into this. And if you can take a recording, but if you send out the slide, we will take that along. I will just want to.
And other. The second thing is to please be vigilant. Think twice before you do things. Attackers now, they are getting better. They are doing research. They are studying how people respond. And one thing they find out, which is obvious, is when you are tired or when you are waking up in the morning, you know, the way you process information, and or that you just want to get things going and you're tired, or you can't process things quickly. So that is when they want to hit. Don't be in a hurry. So you say that one thing they will come to you with is a bit of a sense of urgency. Okay, you need to do it now. Give yourself some time. Say, I will come back to you, or can we do this next time? And then think over it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Professor G, can you give us your takeaway, please?
Yeah, so thank you very much. Yeah, I think Brother Onye said a lot of them. So you cannot overemphasize the password. Use very strong password. Number two, as he said, two-factor authentication. And also, if you could subscribe to your password or credentials being stored on the browser or on your phone, that will be very helpful. Number three, when something, see everything on the internet or on the, as both inbound and outbound. When anything comes inbound to you, suspect that as a matter of principle, suspect that, and therefore try to validate through other. If something comes to you through email, if you want to validate, use telephone. If it comes to you through phone, if you want to validate, use email. Use different means to validate. Don't use the same. And also number four, try to contact people back based on the data you have about them, not the one they sent to you. If somebody sent you an email and instead of replying, if you have their email before, send a fresh email to them. And another thing is about data privacy. We talked about cookies, and also make sure from time to time you check your privacy settings on those big social media websites, Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Twitter. And the other thing is about let's be vigilant, and let's make sure that we subscribe to security on our devices, update your antivirus and some security devices, security software on your devices, because they can hackers take advantage of vulnerabilities. If there is no vulnerabilities, they can't come in. So and those things help us to block our vulnerabilities. So thank you very much for your time and for the privilege today.
Thank you very much. Bro, where you are raising your hand. Do you have any question, comments?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I just want to comment on the use of email addresses. Now, if you were to get to your bank and use an email like Ewere2156, which you use only for your banks, you know tomorrow that when you get an email to your regular email address saying something has happened to your bank, you know I never use that email for my banking. Banking is a specific email and nothing else. No, or it's not used for anything else. So that's something to consider. Secondly, about data mining, when you register for this site, give your email, it's also good to have an email address that you call a throwaway email address. When they say download this form, give us your email, give them that one. And they send you the forms to that email. You know all the spam goes to that email address. You don't use it for anything tangible. That's also worth considering. A few wisdom tips here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's really useful. We are rounding up now. I'm just going to ask Sister Joke if there is any announcement that you want to give to the house before we round up. Sister Joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I mean, I've learned a lot tonight. You know, I've really learned a lot tonight. And I think I just remembered my husband's experience a few weeks ago where, you know, these calls just came in, and each time the call comes in, it will pick them up. And the moment it picks up, the line drops. So he had a couple of those calls. And then at the end of the month, his phone bill came. His phone bill was almost 200% higher than his normal direct debit. And then he called the provider and said, "Oh, what happened to my phone bill? That is gone, you know, it's gone excessively high." And they said to him that he's been picking this call. And the moment he picks that number, they charge his phone. Yeah. And then they now said, so what they now did was they now blocked that number and then made the refund. So it's just incredible how these scammers come. And you know, I mean, when you receive a call, the first thing that comes to you by default is you want to pick up. But the moment it picks up, they just drop. So invariably, they were charging his phone. So I think we've learned a lot tonight. God will give us the grace to be vigilant, you know, and then because they're so desperate, it's incredible. Thank you so much, Professor G, and my doctor Oye, and we miss Sister Bumi tonight, and I can tell there's a lot of information she's willing to share tonight. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you for sharing your experience. I mean, I'm sure if you were to be invited to external webinars, I'm sure it's not going to be free of charge, but thank you for sowing this seed in our lives. We truly appreciate it. May God, our God himself, reward you. I think the only announcement I have tonight is that next month is going to be a prayer meeting. We have a prayer meeting every third Saturday of every month. And so we're having another one in August by God's grace. And that will be at 9 p.m., I believe, Broiwere, on the 21st. I don't know if it's 21st of August. I'm trying to not say the wrong day, but it's the third Saturday of the month. And then in September, we trust God to bring in another topic that is relevant to our lives. Thank you so much, and God bless. Bro Kemi, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sajoke. By way of closing, I would like to appreciate all our panelists and all the attendees. It's been really great having you participating in this webinar tonight. We will be sharing the presentation document that was used during this webinar, and we will also be sharing it on the social media. So we will send the link out so that people could actually go back and listen to all the talks. Thank you very much. And that's the closure. Have a good evening and God bless you all. Thank you.